Namaste. That was another view of the Bandra promenade with the water levels much higher than what was there before. And today I wanted to share some thoughts about reading books. This is a habit that seems to be fast disappearing in many of our this current generation, or many of the students and even our staff. So in our my younger days, when there was no internet or books, World Wide Web and other resources, reading books was pretty much the only way to acquire any information or to keep in touch with the progress of the field or new developments and so on. Today you have a lot of options. You have internet, you have World Wide Web, you have your phones itself is a good repository of information. There are YouTubes and all that. But what I notice is that most of the time the fact that information is available at your fingertips or at short notice has tempted people not to pursue it. They said, "Oh well, I can always pick it up when I need it." But that is a myth, because unless you understand the information, you understand concepts in adequate depth, it will not be possible at short notice for you to decide what to do with under some circumstances, or what information do you need, or whether such information is possible, such ideas are possible. These are very hard to do at short notice if adequate depth of understanding is not there. And for that, books is inevitable or essential. So reading books is something that is very valuable for any person who is interested in technology or in any subject for that matter, whether it's an academics, industry, all of that. And today in the fast changing world, keeping touch with the field, the various developments that is going on is also very important. And to me, reading books is pretty much the only way you're going to do that effectively. And when I suggest reading books, it is not just browsing books to just pick up something here and there, but reading books end to end. And sometimes that includes even the preface, the acknowledgements, the introduction, the background of creation of the books and all that. These are useful because the author is trying to communicate something to you in context, and these add-on material actually tells you what is that context in which that book is written, or in what is the expectation that the authors have about the book. So read the book cover to cover, literally. But again, it is not just picking up the words through your eyes and understanding some bits here and there that is important. Try to read the book with a very critical eye. We generally have a habit that when you read a book or when you read a paper, you say, "Oh, this is written by a very established thing," or "This is published by a very reputed press, also all of this must be true." That's not the case actually. So if all the information which was published at one point in time were true, the progress of the world would have stopped at that point. So every time, whenever somebody is writing something, whether it is a book or a paper or anything, there are always opponents there. There are always possible misconceptions and possible growth of the field that is yet to take place. So when you are reading something, you look for those things, you analyze it, and understand what is the perspective that the author is taking, and also do it in a critical form. That is, ask the question whether the author is actually what the author is presenting, the flow, the concepts, the arguments, all that, does it actually make sense to you? Are you able to relate to it? Does it actually match with your understanding of the subject? Now, if there is a mismatch, that could mean that the author is wrong, or is not able to communicate to you properly, or it could mean that you have a gap in your understanding. So either way, it's a benefit because you learn to fix it. You can highlight that these need to be corrected. So asking the question while you are reading the book with respect to whatever facts, whatever assumptions that the author is making, whatever arguments he is presenting to drive the flow, whatever conclusions he is reaching, the data that he is using, the of other information, the other references or literature that he is referring to, they all require your critical eye. They might be relevant but not complete. There may be other things that they might not have included, and so it is not very important that you are new here or you are experienced here. We always can find that we learn something from everybody. So it is useful that you might actually come up with it. Even more, sometimes when somebody new reads a book, he comes up with a different perspective. You are coming from a different background, so you might actually approach that subject from a different perspective than what the author is trying to do or what many others are going to do. So your views are very important, very relevant. So don't leave them to say that this is not going to be very relevant. And having gone through this exercise with that kind of a critical view, write a review of that book. Review that book in half page, 1 page, 2 page, depending on the size and on the content that is there. But again, let the review be very critical, not just a listing of what are covered in the different chapters of the book, but critically analyzing the flow, the arguments. Where is the coverage comprehensive? Is the depth adequate? Are the concepts flowing properly? Are the conclusions justified? So there are so many questions that you can ask about the whatever the author is writing in the book. Try to bring out all of these in your review, and that's a very educative process, because when you are reading a book with a review in mind, you start focusing better. Your depth of understanding is much deeper, and you learn the subject much better. Okay, and you also try to relate to the author's perspective as to what the gaps could be, or how is the author looking at the field versus how you are looking at the field. So it's a very, very educative experience, something that I would recommend that you all do. At least make it a habit to read at least 1 or 2 books end to end every year. Okay, and that's a very small number. People are actually talking about 10 books, 15 books and all that. And when I had actually taken a ACM Computing Reviews membership about 20 years back, and I've been reviewing 1 to 2 books every year for ACM Computing Reviews. I do the review, I send it to them, and they usually publish the review also. So this is the contribution side of it, because my reviews might be useful for somebody, for the authors to revise the book, for somebody who might to decide whether to buy the book or not to buy the book. But more than that, it's been a very educative experience for me, because there are so many things that you end up learning which you don't do otherwise when you are reading a book. And for me, when you read a book is when my mind also wanders into related things. That is a time when a lot of thinking and reflections also happens. So I want to use a triple R philosophy here: read, review, reflect, and review. So while you read, you reflect, ask questions, try to understand things in a broader context, and at the end of it, provide a review of whatever you have read, and it is more instructive for you, as well as something that may be useful for other people. Okay, so try to do that, at least 1 book maybe this year, and 2 to 3 books further. You can make that as a habit. I think it will be a big achievement for you, big learning for you for 5 years from now. So all the best, take care, and see you next time.